actually record a marketing segment here in studio with my good friend Paul McGrone from PJM Home Inspections. So Paul's going to join me. We got another camera set up there, and we have a couple others that didn't quite make the cut. So anyhow, Paul, thanks for joining me here today. So wanted to kind of bring to you guys, bring Paul to you guys today. With the market as active as it is right now, there's a lot of importance around home inspections. And one of the questions I was asking you in a previous segment that we did was, why home inspections and what's the importance of a home inspection, to a buyer? Let's start with a buyer first. Why should a home buyer that just found their dream home, why should they get a home inspection on their property?
Due diligence, really. If you want to know what's going on with the property, you need someone who's experienced to bring to you information about all the components that go into building that house. Electrical, air conditioning, roof, construction. You're going to want to know this information so that you can navigate yourself through the process. Because if you're buying a brand new home, you're probably statistically going to be okay, but there's always, you go through the process because sometimes you're not okay, right? We've done plenty of new homes that have had missing insulation. I did a new home about 3 weeks ago. It was a 2-story home. Very few inspectors that I know actually go on a 2nd-story roof. I do it because I know what I've seen in my past. I've been doing this a long time.
So you said it was a 2-story home? Or?
2-story home.
Okay.
Brand new construction.
And you got it on the roof?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, some of the builders don't let you, but sometimes when they're not there,
when they see that you're young and you're agile and you can actually,
They actually made you submit your insurance first, just to make sure.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. But in this particular case,
do they kind of like, make you do a couple jumping jacks, like do a couple burpees?
I've only got a few more years in me probably where they'll let me go on there feeling confident I'm going to.
No, you'll be fine, man. Okay? You keep exercising as much as you do, you'll be fine.
Thank you for that. But in this particular house, they forgot to shingle one section. There's a 2-story house. The
buyer would have never found out.
No, the county inspectors and the city inspectors, they don't go on the roof.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I don't blame them.
You can't see them from the ground. So having gone up there and bringing it to the attention of the superintendent, we prevented what probably could have been a disaster. It was still kind of dry 2 weeks ago, so we didn't get a lot of rain. But just recently, like the last 3 days or 4 days ago, monsoon the other day.
So when you say a shingle, you're talking like a little piece of shingle or like a big section?
An entire valley, a dead valley at the top.
Oh,
there was a
so it's not like a little shingle this size?
No. It was a front gable.
Yeah.
And when I got up from the back because I was able to go on the 1st level garage roof, then get a ladder to the 2nd level. Went up there. It was a little steep, but
you're brave. You're brave.
Well, when I got up there, I was like, man, am I glad I saw this, because you know what will happen if you don't go up there. They're going to say, why didn't my inspector see it? Well, it would be for the same reason that no one else saw it. They didn't go up and look. So everything from a new home, because that happened, and then you have existing homes. And you want to know what the seller has done or what the previous owners has done over the years. The only way to know that is to have someone bring that information to you.
Now, even if you've bought properties in the past, it still does not replace, having a licensed, certified home inspector. Someone may have bought 3, 4, 5, 8, 12 homes. I mean, you do dozens of inspections each and every week. Yeah. Countless every day. And at your company, you guys do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of inspections every year. If not, I'm going to probably guess it's in the thousands. So the experience that you guys have, from being able to look at something, and I'm sure you guys as a team, if one of your inspectors goes out in the field and they see something that they haven't seen before, I'm sure you guys can communicate amongst yourselves before the report comes out.
We do, and it's experienced guys that help the newer guys, and this is how it always has been. And it's really important. You had said something I thought was very interesting a minute ago, a licensed certified inspector. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I teach a lot of first-time home buyers classes. I know you're interested in those too. But real estate, this applies to you guys too. You can get a real estate license. You can be licensed, but are you experienced, right? How many years have you been doing it is a good question, but a better question is how many transactions have you done? Exactly. For us, it's how many inspections have you done, not necessarily how many years have you been doing inspections. The license only guarantees that the person that you're finding out is qualified meets the minimum standard. So I always equate that to like being wheeled into an emergency room and overhearing the nurse say to wheel him into Dr. Jones, he meets the minimum standards. You go, wait a minute, I don't want to go see him.
No.
I want a board certified, experienced guy. So this is very similar to that. So when you pick a realtor or you pick an inspector, you want to pick somebody who's got the experience, because it's that experience that you're hiring, and then that makes sense. If you're a buyer, you have someone experienced represent you, you have someone experienced inspect your home, then you're going to come out in that transaction ahead.
You know what they say, like you get what you pay for. Sometimes, you know, you don't get what you don't pay for. You know, and it's like, sometimes or actually all the time, it's worth it, you know, to one, bring in someone that has the experience like you guys, or you mentioned like if you're choosing between one home inspector and the other, definitely like pair them up against each other. Don't think because one can do the home inspection, you know, they're going to say, oh, I'll do it for $100. Well, you know, there isn't $100 home inspections if you didn't know that. You know, here you have a company, they're going to charge you a couple $100s for it, but you know, you're going to get a great product. Same thing like with realtors. You know, I get friends all the time, and I'm glad I'm actually sharing this on Facebook. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. You know, if you're just joining us right now, this is Paul McGrone with PJM Home Inspections. He's the owner, along with his wife Karen. We've been partners for a long time. You guys personally inspect my own investments, my own house, everything I always do real estate related. You're the one that gets a phone call, you know, we appreciate you guys just kind of being a trusted partner. So for whatever is worth, you know, if I put my money, my trust in these guys, honestly, you should too, because I wouldn't buy a home if it wasn't inspected by you guys. And as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, you saved my ass.
I don't know about that, but I brought you the information and you made a decision. I
was getting ready to purchase a property, and I was excited about the home, and it was an interesting investment deal. And I was supposed to close on a particular day. I got Paul out there. It was actually an hour away from here, and Paul went out to the property, and I got the report, and I was like, oh my God, I knew some of this extent, but I didn't know to the full extent what I was getting into. So getting a home inspection, you guys, is when you're buying a home, it's probably the least expensive investment you can make. I mean, we're talking a couple $100. You know, when it comes to buying a home, you have closing costs, which are like in the thousands of dollars, which if you're working with me and my team, we can get those usually covered, and, you know, either by the builder or by the seller. But you know, you're talking like all these thousands of dollars. Getting a home inspection is a couple $100, but man, it can really make or break a deal.
It could make or break a deal, but it can also prepare you in a way that you could not have possibly been prepared otherwise. Yeah. Because once you get a document from someone who knows how to do this correctly, they should be, customers use our documents for years. I get requests, people coming to our door, even from attorneys, and my wife will tell you this, it's hysterical. We want all your records from this property from 2010. We're like, okay. So we save these things. But these things go in front of these. Once you create an inspection document and you have it on file, there are instances with insurance denying a claim, for example. So I'm going to go a little bit further than just the buying and selling.
So how do the attorneys contact you guys?
Subpoena. We get someone knocking at our door.
But how do they know that you guys inspected this home 7 years ago?
Typically, I guess it's the questions that they ask the people who hire the attorneys. And in some cases, it's like the insurance company trying to prove something to somebody else, and they want to know if the home is inspected, so they do the research on it.
Wow.
And we get the subpoena, and unfortunately, you can't not show up to these things. You have to deliver if you have it. But I guess the point is that if you do this job right and you document things accurately, this is a report that can be an accurate reflection of that moment in time for years. And it can help you. I just posted something on our Facebook about me. You may have seen it, I'm not sure. Probably about maybe 3 weeks ago. And what happened was this house got actually destroyed in a storm. And the guy inspected the house for the guy. And he actually did most of the things that we recommended be repaired. He kept track of it and he kept the report.
Wow.
Anyway, long story short, this whole claim for the insurance company, when he went to process it, was about $88,000. The insurance company denied him the claim and said that he bought a house that was not, it was a substandard home or something like that. So he fought that denial. He got an attorney. The attorney took my inspection and used that inspection to show the accurate depiction of that property. Wow. They ended up having to cover that claim. So an inspection may look like something simple at the beginning, but man, these things have legs and they last a while. So that's the value of doing it, not just with someone experienced, but also someone who knows how to put that document together so it can be used for a long time to come.
Who's actually going to keep the records. So that's awesome there. I mean, so let me ask you this. What was that inspection report? How much did that client pay?
$350.
So that $350 inspection report, the value of that report was...
That one's unique, but we went with that. It's a good feeling.
$80,000 is what ultimately those $350, I mean, talk about a hell of an investment. Had that buyer not gotten that home inspected, I mean, there's probably little he could have argued, right?
Very little. And here's the other thing about, we talked about experience and just basic minimum requirements a little while ago.
Yeah.
This is really essential part of this conversation, because if you have someone experienced, the way they document the results is really important. Because let's say someone else did that inspection, they didn't take half as many photos, they didn't describe things accurately. How is that person going to prove anything, right? That report has to be done very well. And that's the only reason that worked in that situation. For most of the time, the inspections are done well and it's just a formality. But you take the report and then you know what you need to do for maybe the next 3, 4, 5 years. You plan, you budget, right? That's how it normally works. But it's worth the investment.
In this case, it's totally worth the investment. Again, if you guys are tuning in, let me actually take a minute here, say hi to you guys. Guys, if you're tuning in, this is actually Paul Magrone. So if you don't know who this man is, you should. All of you guys that are friends in the business here, so many of you. Hello, what's up, everybody? Olga, Jose, Cam, Paulo, Jeremy, Brian, Ida, Sean. What's up, guys? Will, Julio, what's up, everybody? We're here hanging out in my office today with Paul Magrone with PJM Home Inspections. He's a good friend of ours, one of our trusted partners, and our exclusive home inspector. Why should someone consider getting a home inspection if they're a seller?
Well, that makes everyone's life actually a lot easier. A lot of times sellers, I think, are just waiting to sell their house and they don't really know what it might take to make the property move faster. You guys are really good at educating them on how to make it marketable, how to make it pop in the neighborhood, you know, how to get top dollar for it. But what we're good at is bringing out the things that might actually cause a roadblock in that transaction, something that nobody might be aware of. And it's usually that roof leak that no one knows is happening right now. The roof is rotting inside the attic, but nobody goes up there to look at that. It could be an overheating electrical panel that potentially could cause a fire. I actually had one of those things happen about 3 months ago, and this is why communication is so important. But from a selling standpoint, to stay on that subject, it's important that you can fix the big things so that you don't get hung up. Because what will happen is the buyers, their inspector might find it and they're going to walk. Now you spend all this time and energy, right, wasting time and energy and money, and you lose your sale.
Or if they don't walk, what ends up happening is, you know, one thing I've read a long time ago is if something were to cost $1,000 to fix it, in the buyer's eyes, it's going to cost like 9 or 10 times as much. So if you're a seller, you should totally get your property inspected beforehand. You know, you guys may find like, you know, rotten trim on a door, or, you know, all these little things that you may find. I know, like, for example, my wife and I were actually getting ready to sell our home, and man, selling a home is tough in the sense of like, when you actually live in a home, if it's an investment property, those are easier. But when you live in a home and you have kids and you have all these things, all these things that you've accumulated over time, it's difficult. So my wife and I were actually at that stage right now where we're thinking of selling our home, and on the back of our mind, it's like, before we go to actually put it in the market, we got to call you guys, because I want to know if there's anything wrong with it. There's a couple little things I know that, you know, that we need to take care of, but I really want a report to be able to hand it to my contractor, my handyman, and say, hey, listen, you know, go ahead and knock out all these things, so when the buyer gets there, I can hand them a clean report and they can feel comfortable buying the home.
I think that's a really good point. And there is one other element of this that I think often gets left out, the element of the unknown.
Exactly.
See, like if I come in and I inspect Andre's house for sale, and I find what looks like an active leak in a wall, I can then say, hey, Andre, we need to open this up so I can see where this is coming from, because he owns the home. And we could do that. If you're a buyer and I come in representing the buyer into Andre's home, I can find an active moisture problem somewhere, and say, I think we have a leak here, but my job ends in a non-invasive inspection there. I can't open that wall. We don't know.
So there's going to be doubt in the report.
There's going to be doubt in the report, the unknown, and what usually happens is you present the result of active moisture in a wall on a second story, just for example.
Yeah.
You know, the husband and wife have that discussion, and the next thing you know, the wife is worried about mold, and they got kids with allergies, and they want to open up the wall, and they're scared to death, and then you're like, oh no, I don't want you to open the wall, I'm selling my house, right? Because now somebody maybe they brought in that you don't know.
It's invasive, you know, whereas if it was handled beforehand,
yeah.
it's totally, it's a different element. It's like, sure, let's go ahead, let's open it up. We'll have our handyman there, he'll open up the wall, and we'll find if whatever the issue is, we'll get it resolved, and it's done. And end of story.
Goes away. And another thing that's really important too is if you did ever have a leak in a wall, and that's the case if you're a seller and you have an inspection and that inspector finds that, is to make sure that once the repair is done, leave that wall open, bring in dehumidifiers and fans, make sure it all dries out, because the next guy coming in for the buyer, it takes a while for a wall cavity to dry. It could be 3 weeks later and you could still get an elevated moisture reading.
Wow.
So if you do have that repair done, make sure that you air it out and dry it out correctly.
Well, that makes all the sense in the world. So we're going to be on here for just a few more seconds. Carol, Betty, Tim, what's up, guys? Those of you that are just tuning in, this is my good friend Paul McGrone. He's the president and CEO of PJM Home Inspections. Now, we've been working with Paul and his amazing team for 7-8 years now, and it's been a really, really nice relationship to the tune of, you know, we actually, every single property that we buy as an investment, either whether it's a buy and hold or, as a matter of fact, put it this way, you guys inspected the building that we're in right now.
We did.
You guys inspected this building, and it was nothing like what it is right now. You guys came in, and of course there was things that needed to be taken care of. But you guys, when it came to communicating, you guys communicated to me like, okay, Andrey, like you're still getting a great deal. These are some of the things that you're going to need to look out for, but it's okay. Like you're getting a hell of a deal in downtown Orlando.
Yeah, you picked a good building. This is amazing. You should have seen it before it looked like this. That's one thing I have to tell you. But every time I come here, I'm absolutely amazed at what you've done with the place, because it didn't look anything like this at all.
No, not at all. It's certainly been awesome, man. And I know we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here on Facebook. So, Paul, when this comes back, I know we have a couple other cameras here on the set. Can you give the audience your contact info? So if you're buying a home, if you're selling a home, I mean, this is the guy, this is the company you need to talk to, hands down. What's the best way that they can get in contact with you guys?
Well, our office number is 321-228-3848. That goes directly to our office where Karen and Ellen will be able to book an inspection for you. You can go on our website, which is pjm-inc.com, and you can see a sample report. There's some basic pricing on there. You can go on Angie's List or check out our Google reviews too. I mean, there's tons of that stuff as well, so that you can get to know us a little bit about our reputation and what we do. So
you guys got an amazing reputation. Is there anything else you wanted to leave the audience with? Maybe, I don't know, so some interesting stories. You know, some things that you're seeing out there in the marketplace today.
Interesting stories. I think that new construction is probably the most interesting path that I can talk about, because there's so much more of it the last few years. So naturally, we've run into things that were unexpected on site, like backing up plumbing, because they'll leave the clean out for the sewer line open and garbage falls in there. You go in there to inspect it, and next thing you know, you're getting stuff backing up. The toilet won't flush all the way. You wonder what's going on. So we're catching stuff like that. Overheating electrical panels from loose wiring. Things of that nature, because somebody maybe was in progress of doing something and then they actually haven't finished it yet, but yet the super doesn't know that. Only the electrician knows that, and communication breaks down in those environments. So we go in and we find them and we bring it to the attention of the super, and they're usually very happy to have us, because they want to know. They want to fix it. You know what I mean?
And what's interesting is, you know, obviously the buyer's paying you guys.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that very few buyers are probably taking advantage of this opportunity to get brand new homes inspected. I'm sure with you guys creating awareness for it, I'm sure a lot more people are doing so, but not as many as there should be.
I think you're right about that. We have a lot of new inspections that do come in for new construction, but there's two types of inspections we do. It's right before they close, right, which I think is the most important one, because you get most of the leverage there.
Yeah.
But then we also do the 1-year warranty, which is about 9, 10, 11 months in. And that's really valuable too, because nothing substitutes living in a building and understanding the problems as you live there. Then we can come in and we can listen to what you tell us is wrong. We can diagnose it. We can put it in a report.
And you said this is how many months in?
About 10 months in.
That's awesome.
The builders offer the 1-year warranty, and how you get the most out of that is you have a professional come in and get everything and have them fix everything.
I know when my parents bought their home in 2006, we had the beautiful booklet. It was a Lennar home back in the day. Actually, it was a U.S. home, but U.S. Homes and Lennar was the same company. And we had the beautiful booklet and all the warranties and all that stuff. So I remember that, and I wonder, what if, we could actually go back and look at that and get a home inspection before your warranty period, or your 1-year warranty period is up. I've never heard of that.
Oh, so probably because by that time, they're not really involved with real estate stuff. It's mostly they're looking for an inspector. Facebook is actually a great resource for us with that, because most of the newer communities do have their own Facebook page. They set them up. So we're on a lot of new subdivisions Facebook pages from those 1-year warranties and stuff. So we're getting out there quite a bit from the new construction, and usually because we do find issues. It's not like every house is clean.
No. I mean, things happen. Things are going to break. No, this is awesome, Paul. And again, those of you that were watching online and that are listening to this, we highly recommend Paul and his team. It's a great company. It's an amazing family that's behind the company, and just great all around people that work at PJM. So again, I couldn't say anything better about Paul and his team and PJM Home Inspections. We totally trust you guys. And again, like I said earlier, you guys inspected this building. You inspected the home I live in today. You inspected every one of the investment properties we've ever bought and sold. And when I go to sell my house again here in a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, you guys will be back out there. So
I look forward to it. I haven't seen your family in a while. I seen your dad a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, man.
Well, Paul, thank you so much, man. This is
my
my pleasure. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Let's do this again.
Yes, sir.
Was it still recording?
Yeah. You have to